Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Or if you're new here, welcome to another edition of Kingly Conversations, man. And we got a hot one for you today. But before we get into all of that, Zoe's got some shout-outs.
Hey, yo, what up? Thank y'all for tuning in this morning. I just want to shout out to all the mature people out there that like to move on in life and not dwell on the past. We love you.
All right, everybody. So listen here. We're going to be talking about don't let them lie to you. So strap in. Let the Kings talk about it. All right, good people. Hey, welcome again, man, to Kingly Conversations. As I am every single week, you already know who it is, man. It's Alan.
What up? It's your boy Twine, a.k.a. Twine Time. Ask me about my podcast, man. You know what time it is.
It's your friend, your mentor, Calvin D. Hill.
Yes,
All
Lord.
right. So, this is my topic.
Okay, what's the topic?
What you about to say, Calvin?
No, go ahead.
Oh. And the reason that this topic came up
Thank you.
is I just see a lot of lies out here in these streets. And people just, it's like, matter of fact, I said it for those that don't know. So we have a group text with us plus another gentleman named Orion. Shout out to Constellation. Hey. Bishop OG.
Yes, Lord. What up with you?
That's going to be funny. Bishop OG.
Hey, listen. So, and I was just like, man, humans are so gullible. Like, we just easily influenced. It's so crazy to me that people just, I find that the thing that bothers me the most, matter of fact, it was just like I said last episode. It was a proverb that was in 101 Wisdom Keys, and it said the problem that infuriates you the most is the problem that you were designed to solve. Now, I don't know how I solve the problem of willful ignorance, but I do what I can when I can. You know, I try to. If somebody's like, oh, because this, it's like, oh, no, because these actual factual facts over here. But, you know, then we got people calling stuff alternative facts. So, like, what do you do in these situations? Anyway, so the reason it came up was it seemed like the longer I live, the more just the dumber people get, man. It's just getting on my nerves. It really is getting on my nerves. So that's how it came up. That's how it came up.
That's all it is. That people getting on your nerves.
Because it's just like, I mean, my
older,
thing is, hey, man.
Season over here.
They just getting on my nerves. Yeah.
Because my thing is,
Get off my lawn.
It's like, just don't be dumb, man. That's the thing to get on. It's just, that bothers me. It's always bothered me. Just
Why'd you
don't
become a
be
teacher?
dumb. Because teachers don't get paid.
Well,
If they got paid, I'd be a teacher. Or a professor. I have been looking at.
yeah, why don't you become? You have a master's degree. You can be a college professor.
I certainly could be, and I could be out here making sure that these kids ain't dirty dumb sheep.
Well, you better get to going.
Hey,
you better get to going because I think you're a little behind the curve right now.
I ain't behind nothing. Hey,
oh, no.
You better start educating.
All right, man. I thought about starting a YouTube channel called This Day in History, but it was like literally this all day. Of these things were happening at the same time. Don't let these people lie to you. Like simultaneously, this was happening. This was anyway. So the stories that, because I could have had like 50 of them in here, but the ones that I kind of chose to pull, I'm gonna start with.
Why did you choose these two?
Well, they were in the moment. When I made the note.
Okay.
So they were in the moment. They were driving the note itself.
So it's around this
no
time,
particular
Columbus
order.
Day. It was So
what happened? And the Columbus one has always bothered me because what we always like to say about we'll say that, oh, well, you know, people love to use it was a different time to try to indicate that Christopher Columbus
dirtbag?
wasn't a piece of human excrement. But even at the time, he was prosecuted for his crimes at the time. So if they knew in the 1500s that he was hot garbage, why are we pretending as though he's not hot garbage and we celebrate this man once a year? The only Christopher I celebrate is Wallace.
Shout out to Big.
So here's a little bit of truth for the rest of you people. So Columbus died in 1505. Right. Now, of course, that was not long after 1492, right? Like 13 years after he supposedly discovered a place where people already lived. But he was such a monster that the king and queen of Spain refused to invite him to the kingdom after his voyage because of how evil he was. And that his men raped, tortured, and murdered the indigenous people of the Caribbean islands. And the only reason that he was in Spain is because he had raped a 13-year-old girl. Because Christopher Columbus is Italian. So he fled to Spain to avoid prosecution. But this is your hero.
Yes.
So that's why that's because I'm like, look, don't let these people lie to you. Don't let these people lie to you. Know something. And don't just, because otherwise you just out here like, oh yeah, Columbus Day, yeah, okay, but we celebrating the monster. Bona fide, certified monster. And if you okay with that, then you okay with that. But I ain't okay with that. So I don't celebrate that.
I'll take the day off. But
Oh, I'm gonna take the day off. Now I ain't going to work. I ain't finna go to work all of a sudden. Like, oh, I'm gonna get this day back. You know, you just went to work. No. So that was the first one.
Why the other
The second one was because some politician was using this story of Aunt Jemima as essentially an attack against what they believe woke culture is, even though they have no understanding at all of what woke as a term means. It's become essentially a far right-wing dog whistle more than anything else. So the story was, and here's the thing. There are people in and around Kentucky that don't actually know the rest of the story. They know the parts of the story they grew up hearing, but they don't know. They don't know how the story was in Chicago. They don't know how the story was in France. They don't know how the story was somewhere else. So what the politician was saying, and these are his words, the politician's words right here that I have, was that the company that owns the rights to the name Aunt Jemima decided to remove Aunt Jemima from the box. And the original, which is not the one person that was on the box, the original person who was Aunt Jemima was a woman named Nancy Green, right? And she was born in Kentucky during slavery. And they used her as the original spokesperson. Now, here's the thing about that, because people were talking about erasing somebody's history. Didn't nobody know it was no Nancy Green? Because not even 4 years after she became the spokesperson, the company erased her history because they replaced her on the box. The one that we see is the third Aunt Jemima.
Really?
The one that we know, if you grew up in the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Right, the big woman with the apron. And
that was the third Aunt Jemima. Wow. It wasn't Nancy Green anyway. So, but nobody was upset.
So that's not the real picture of Nancy Green anyway.
Not at all. But the reason, and this is the other reason why sometimes I get it. So the original Nancy Green essentially, we'll say, for all of her efforts, labor for the company, she died penniless. because they didn't pay her.
Of course not.
Once you, because now some of it, depending on how you read the story, could have been her fault. She had refused to go to France because she didn't want to travel to France to promote the product, and that was when they replaced her. But you upset all of a sudden now, talking about great history, a great woman erased from history by idiots, when they had already erased their history. So why are you upset now? So don't let them lie to you. It was essentially what I was saying. Like, don't let these people lie to you. Because what they do is they give you partial truths. They give you a piece of truth. So, that sounds true. So that you believe the rest of it. That's the reason. Because I sent them a video. And I was like, look, I don't know how true this is. Seems plausible, but I'd have to do more research. I'd have to look it up. But in the moment, I was like, I'll probably never see this scroll past my thumbs again. So I'm going to drop it here.
Let it go.
And, so don't let them lie to you. That is my whole thing in life. Because if you are basing your actions on the opinions of other people. So the third one is a talking point that we hear all the time.
The gun violence?
Yep.
The who?
The gun violence.
Gotcha.
So it was somebody who was on a news station, like on a national news channel, and he had said that this year there have been 13,000 deaths by gun violence. The vast majority, 95% of them, are in our inner cities where you have some of the strictest gun laws in the country. So to me, just based on how he phrased it,
all in the wording,
you already know the point he's trying to make. You already know the direction he's trying to go.
That violence is in the inner city.
Regardless of any gun laws.
Regardless of any gun laws,
the gun violence is still going to be there.
Gun violence is still going to be there because the strictest gun laws are in the hood, and they still shooting and killing.
What's the truth, man? You got anything behind that?
That's the question. What's the truth about it?
The truth is, the short answer on the truth is no. That is inaccurate.
It is inaccurate?
It is not accurate.
Inaccurate, got it, okay.
So it's inaccurate to say that out of 13,000 handgun deaths a year, 95% of them in the cities, that's not true at all. It's not at all true. It's not even 50%.
What about property violence? Is that the thing?
Property violence is a thing. You plan on violating somebody's property?
No. Yeah.
He reliving his own issues.
Moving on. Let's go.
So the short answer on it was no. And the people can go. The thing of it is, if somebody gives you a stat, or my thing is always, if somebody passes something off as fact to me, I'm gonna go look it up.
So you got to know, learn how to look stuff up. How do you look stuff up? What's the best way?
Breaking it down Barney style?
Yeah, but that's what it did.
Okay.
Because that's a good point, and a lot of people really need to do some research. So how do you go about researching whatever you just been told? For example, like he just gave us 2 very valid stories. So how do you find that information? For
an example, like this, the last one where the guy said this year there have been 13,000 deaths by gun violence. The vast majority of them are in the inner cities. That's easily look upable. You can just say, you can look up, are the vast majority of gun deaths in the inner city? But what I find most people do when they look stuff up is they look up 13,000 deaths by gun violence in the inner city. They don't actually ask a question. They put a statement in,
and it's found to violate that statement.
But you got to ask a question if you want to get a non-biased answer. Because here's the good and the bad of the internet is whatever you look up, it's going to find. It's going to find it, but it's going to find it based on how you looked it up. So if you say, are there 13,000 deaths by gun violence in the inner city, you're going to get, somebody's probably written an article, or you can pull up the FBI crime stats. The other question would be, are there even 13,000 deaths by gun violence annually? And I know that, like, for me, it's easy. because I've been asking myself and others questions for a long time. I also took a course on how to ask questions, but that's neither here nor there. That was a sales course. So I understand. So, matter of fact, I'm gonna look it up right now.
So while you look that up, while you're looking that up, credible resources, all right? What he was saying, you can't believe everything you see on the internet because everything you see is not real. It's not true. So if you're going to look it up, I repeat, if you're going to look it up, one more time for the people in the back, if you look it up, make sure you're looking it up from a credible resource because there's a lot of information out here. For example, my son said that aliens are real because he saw some stuff on the media or whatever it was, and he was freaking out. Like, yo, bro, I need you to chill out, relax.
The aliens came to...
Anyway, so with that being said, and it was on some fake news. They had a broadcast, and like they went all out to broadcast this news that was fake about some aliens being real and they taking over and things of that nature.
He wasn't watching Secret Invasion on
Alan, did you get the numbers, bro?
Yeah. Hey, listen. Hey. So here's the problem, though. Because 6 years ago, we were presented with the idea of alternative facts by Fox News, essentially, which it's always weird to me that Fox News is like, you can't trust anybody else but us. What? Or OAN News is like, you can't trust anybody else but us. No, I can't trust you either. If you're saying I can't trust anybody, then that includes you.
If you starting with that statement, there's a problem.
Anytime somebody start with that, trust me, okay.
Like, trust me, nope.
Okay.
Nope. So anyway, these are stats for this year, right? More than 25,000 people have been killed in gun violence so far in 2023.
Okay.
Half of them are suicides.
Damn.
Half of them, somebody has chosen to unalive themselves.
This dude said
So guess what that means?
I'm listening.
That means the inner city has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to. If you're gonna say 95%, like you just as soon as I hear a stat like 95%, I'm like, ain't no way.
Right.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way 95% of anything.
That's a big chunk.
And you know, so that's why I say it was easy to look at. Now it took me to, let me see. It was when I looked it up, I just looked up, are there 13,000 gun deaths? Nothing else. And it was the fifth one down on the page.
Where the other guy got his information? Or
no, just where I just got that information.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I don't know where he got his information. He probably just pulled it out of his butthole.
Well, they probably told him that if it was on the news or something like that, they probably told him to say it.
Somebody did. It was on CNN.
Well, the anchors themselves, they have researchers and they have people who give them the information.
Yeah, but they always tailor it to target certain people. The news only targets certain people.
I get
They don't give you the whole story.
I'm very selective with what. Be selective in what you getting, man, or what you're receiving with information. That's the problem. Everybody just want to.
Yeah, Fox.
And you also have to
just be mindful of what you intaking.
You definitely be mindful. You also have to figure out, like, what is ultimately this person's agenda for telling me this information, especially if that information seems inflammatory. Because look, facts are just facts. They don't really have a slant at all. So if somebody's presenting you facts with a slant, then now I'm starting to ask questions. Okay, well, why are you presenting this information in this way to me?
So basically, what's being said, you want to assume that there's more that needs to be said.
Every time. Okay. I assume the lie and find the truth.
He said assume the lie.
That's it.
Like that.
I assume the lie and find the truth. Because I know that, and I tell people that even when I say stuff, be like, listen, I could be wrong. I could be right today and 5 years from now be wrong. So don't ever take something as fact forever. Mm-hmm. Like, it is fact today, but 2 years from now, 4 years from now, 10 years from now, it could now not be right. Because as we as a society learn more, get more information, because, you know, they always talk about, everybody loves to talk about like inner city violence, but then they never talk about how the inner city got to be the inner city, right? They don't talk about how gentrification drives people into these communities, or how they destroyed entire communities and all of these people had to move over there. They don't talk about how you get there. They just talk about, oh, look at these people. They animals.
Thugs.
Thugs, hoodlums. And all of it. The problem is when it's presented, to me, when it's presented on the news, it's all a dog whistle so that you can say, so that the people that believe the same way as you say, that's right. Matter of fact, because this just happened, and because I'm on that page, I'm on I'm on the Black Gun Owner Network Facebook page, right?
I am not on that page.
You don't need to be, not really. And they posted something because there's a politician that made an ad that essentially was voicing his Second Amendment rights using the KKK, like trying to come and attack his home. He had people dressed up in sheets, and he came out the house with his AR-15. No problem with that. That's, you know what, the KKK run up on your house, my mindset is run up, get done up. That's how I look at it. Run up, get. If you don't want to know what I got inside this house, do not attack it.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because I was watching. There's a gentleman that I follow, and he was talking about you need to be mindful of where you're shooting. Like somebody was being attacked. Two people was attacking. One had a gun, and they were trying to break into his apartment. So he was spraying and praying, and in the video you saw the bullet ricochet from the apartment across the hall from him. So you got to be mindful of where you're shooting, because the trajectory is going through like thin things. Anyway,
the reason I talk about the politician dude is because there are people that will vote for him
because of what he said,
solely on that. They won't even go to his website and look at all of the other stuff that he's saying. Because I was like, because what I said to one of the people I sent the video to, because I was like, I don't know that I'd vote for him, because he also could be in favor of Nazi-style death camps. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is you like guns. Okay, great. But I'm also not. I'm not a single issue voter either, because I understand that, to me, that is not the number one priority issue. Because what I know is, if we're talking about being able to defend your home, okay, go to the gym first of all. Because when an intruder ran up in LL Cool J's home, he got the brakes beat off of him. Won't no gun. Won't no need for a gun. The intruder was unarmed. That's what he caught, those type of weapons. He caught hands.
I'm about to put the paws on
exactly. He came. LL came down with a T-shirt that just said "Only Hands." Tightened him up real quick. Dude was looking like he came out of the Rocky movie afterwards. But so I'm saying, like, my thing is, we don't immediately have to go and resort to the lethal option.
Well, that's where you get into such a situation and being aware of your surroundings and things of that nature. But let's move on.
Moving right. So I'm just saying, don't let people lie to you. Don't let them essentially dangle that carrot in front of you and then punch you in the face on the back end.
All right, so learn the nuances. Understand.
You got to learn to understand nuance. Because I think that's most people's problem is they don't. I mean, because most people. Well, first of all, Mr. Zoe, can you look up nuance?
That's exactly what I was
so that we can explain to the people what nuance is, and then have a conversation.
Well, it says, let's see, subtle difference between a subtle difference in or shade of meaning, expression, or sound. That's what I got. Nuance meaning.
Mm-hmm. That's the only one, does it?
Subtle difference in the meaning or opinion or attitude. There's quite a few.
Yes, there are.
Not having or exhibiting subtle qualities or distinctions. Lack of nuances. Okay, that's something different. Let me go to the rest. Do you have an idea now?
Give you 3.
Huh?
Dictionary.com give you 3.
Not having or exhibiting
slight
subtle
differences,
slight differences.
So it's slight differences, right?
Slight differences.
One of the examples is nuances of flavor. Like if you add a little bit of salt here, it completely changes the complexion of the dish. If you're somebody that cooks. Or you may add a little bit of garlic powder, completely changes the flavor of the dish. And you only added a little bit of spice. Right? And so, but I think in terms of conversation, people fail to understand subtle differences between this and that. Mm-hmm. Like they'll say something like, okay, so like in the example of the politician, because he's from Arizona, and he was dealing with supposedly, I don't know if it's true or not, he was dealing with something that happened in his childhood, I guess, where the Klan ran up on his family home, and I guess maybe his father or somebody protected the house with a rifle. Mm-hmm. But you could have just used burglars. Why did you need to use the KKK?
Because he knew their audience. Yeah, I got you. I understand.
Mm-hmm. You could have used you could have used anybody.
Right.
You could have used the carjacking. You could have used anything. But you chose to use your home to defend, which was key, and racists trying to break into your home. So you killed two birds with one stone. What you essentially said was all the black people should vote for me, and all of the 2A people should vote for me in one ad. And most people won't catch that. That's exactly you're intrigued. You can't vote for them anyway unless you live in Arizona. But now you're intrigued and you're like, oh, I should vote. So when it comes time to go to the ballot box, you just gonna remember that black dude that had the AR-15 protecting his homestead from the Klan. That's all you're gonna remember. What I remember is you lying to me. Because first of all, the Klan don't attack in broad daylight. And you also had black people wearing the Klan uniforms. So that's neither here nor there. You just grab some people. Like, hey, can you put this sheet on, bro?
You know what I got a problem with? The people who said yes to that question. That's what I got a problem with.
Hey, I need you for this ad, cuz. Come on over here and put this sheet on right quick for me. So, but they know what they're doing. There's a reason why advertising firms get paid the money that they do. Is because they know how to influence you. They know how to influence you.
Right. I don't like it.
They know exactly
what to do.
They know how to target. So they know if they want to reach Calvin, this is what we got to say.
Advertising and marketing like that.
For sure.
So they know what they're
millions of dollars.
Yeah, of course.
And these days, if you are if you are a black Republican, the Republican Party is going to throw plenty of money behind you. So be a black Republican and then switch sides afterwards and be an independent.
Oh my goodness!
Like the lady did who ran as a Democrat and then switched to the Republican Party.
Hey,
ran, won, and then switched parties. I was like, man, that's gangster.
I'll tell you what. Be open to correction and learning something new. When it comes to taking, listen, Linda, listen. I'm talking for myself. I'm not talking about for anybody out there. Even if you're listening, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But let me go ahead and get this off my chest. Because I'm around a lot of smart people, all right? I work around a lot of smart people. They probably wouldn't say that themselves. But for me, when I see how they operate when it comes to information, I rock with them because they do their own research. They look up stuff, and they have multiple resources they look up. Brian Bishop, if you're listening, shout out to you, man. One of the smartest guys I know. And I be saying a lot of stuff off the top of the dome sometimes, and he will correct me as far as the information because I'm never always right. So when you have people like him and Bert, shout out if you're listening. If y'all got people like them around you in your circle, man, be open to correction, and you might learn something new. Like there's a lot of stuff I don't know, and I'm not going to portray that I do know it, but when somebody's around me and they're knowledgeable about it and they know it as far as getting information in and receiving it and knowing like, hey, that might not be true or it might be another way, allow someone to show you a different perspective about the information, and you might learn something, man. Out here in these streets. That's all I got, man. Just be open to it. Like, you can't be closed-minded. Now, granted, I'm a very closed-minded person, but I'm always open for correction.
I got a concern. I got a question.
What?
Even eyewitnesses' testimony is unreliable. Explain that.
I was looking up some additional information.
Oh, okay,
up, sir. But
okay,
okay. So one of the things that has come up in recent times is, and it really comes up mostly because of wrongful convictions.
Okay.
Because a lot of some of the wrongful convictions are because of eyewitness testimony. The person thought they saw a person, and the person wasn't there.
Well, you don't think that's just a lie? They just lied.
It might be a lie. What I also know is that, and if you click on that link that I did drop, you'll see that there are a lot of things that happen to you that can influence eyewitness testimony. Mm-hmm. But the reason I put it in here is, even eyewitness testimony needs to be vetted with facts.
Coerced?
If you can, well,
I'm just joking.
It can be
Let's
coerced.
Let's move on.
But one of the things that they talk about is, in the article at least, they talk about, factors that can influence eyewitness testimony, because people are always like, well, I believe it if I see it. Well, you can't always believe what you see either. You think you can, because you feel like you should be able to rely on your own memory, but there is a thing, and it talks about it, called memory contamination, where you'll see this a lot if you've ever gone somewhere and experienced an event with different people, and you'll see how those different people remember the same event different ways. One person will say this happened, like, no, that didn't happen. It happened this way. Oh, that didn't happen either. It happened this way. And so you get memory. The other thing that people don't realize about your memory is every time you recall a memory, you're really re-remembering that memory. So you only actually make a memory one time. Every other time, you're essentially making a copy of that memory in your mind. So you bring it back up and makes another copy and puts it back in. And so if something changes in that copy, then that change becomes permanent in your mind. So you'll think of things, 10 years, like what we were talking about before, not even realizing so-and-so was dead. Right?
Got him.
Because I remember. So that's what I'm saying. So you can trust your memory to a point. That's why I remember, one of my mentors says he'd rather trust a short pencil to a long memory any day.
That's a bar.
Even on these days, people putting it in their phones. But stress can also affect eyewitness testimony. Stress can affect memory as well. So, and then we ain't even gonna talk about poor eyesight as being a problem with eyewitness testimony.
Where my glasses at?
But that is something that they are looking at slowly in the law community, is the validity of eyewitness testimony, because there have been so many instances where the eyewitness testimony has proven to be unreliable based on facts, based on video evidence. They might have. Like, oh, no, Calvin going to jail today. Better tell him. So, don't let them people lie to you, man. Don't let them lie to you, man. Do whatever you can. Just listen. My thing is, just don't be dumb, man. Don't be willfully ignorant. And by ignorant, I mean just not knowing. I don't mean like ignorance as a way of life or ignorant as a way of life. I mean, the word ignorant is just you don't know something. There's an unknown. I'm ignorant to a lot of things, but my goal is always to at least know enough about a topic so that somebody can't lie to me about it. That's really where I stand in most things. Like, know enough about it so I know when you are lying to me, or when you are misconstruing the facts.
Just go
intentionally or otherwise. Y'all got anything else?
Give me the music.
Oh. No, I got nothing.
Nope, I got it, man. I'm good, bro. I got nothing for you, bro. Good information. You matter of fact, look it up. Whatever we told you, look it up. I don't care. Just look it up. All right. Be on your own accountabilities. People, look it up. Get the information. And then once you look it up, make sure that information is good, man. You never can do enough research to find out the truth, man. Especially when you out here being lied to.
Every day.
Eh? That's all I got.
So the only other thing I got at all is I forgot.
Seasoned.
Hey,
That boy got some seasoning on him.
Oh man, I had it too, and then it was just like vapors. But anyway, so look, just make sure that when people are telling you anything, including us, man, like, oh, that's what it was. Just make sure you look it up. But at the end of the day, the quality of your life is going to be determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself and others. So just look stuff up, because you could be basing a lot of your life decisions and thoughts on information that has been fed to you maliciously. That ain't what you want to do. So we'll see y'all next week, man.
Yeah.